Hello, and thanks for joining us here on Encore. Coming up on today's show.
We only just met.
And you're not that kind of girl?
Absolutely not. Usually.
Here they go again. Mamma Mia is back with a sequel 10 years after the sing-along success hit cinema screens.
The first step is for you to stop thinking of yourself as a homosexual.
I don't think of myself as a homosexual.
So-called gay conversion therapies are more fact than fiction in the Miseducation of Cameron Post, as the film's star, Chloe Grace Moritz, speaks out against the homophobic practice. Bringing European politics to a wider audience, we check out a play that puts the EU in the dock as the audience plays judge and jury. It's the feel-good summer hit which charmed audiences 10 years ago. Now Mamma Mia is back. The sequel to the global phenomenon has the same star-studded cast with a few special additions, not to mention the Abba hits that have made it a sing-along success. Selena Sykes checks it out.
Here we go again. After a decade, Mamma Mia is finally back on our screens, infused with more Abba disco hits and the same star-studded cast, including Meryl Streep, Colin Firth and Pierce Brosnan.
Look what you've done with the place.
She wanted to make her mum proud.
If she hasn't done that all her life.
The sequel follows Streep's daughter Sophie, who is pregnant a year after the death of her mother Donna, and invites her 3 possible fathers to share the good news.
I just told Bill.
Yeah, and I told Harry. I told many, many people.
Just be as
The film also combines the present with sequences from Donna's past, in which British actress Lily James plays a young Meryl Streep, allowing a new generation of actresses to perform their own rendition of ABBA classics.
and I was in Vegas. My friend and I drove to Vegas to see it, and I was like,
"That's amazing!" Before the audition,
I didn't know, because I didn't know it. I was living in LA, and I was just like.
Meryl Streep plays a much smaller role in the second film, but still has a love for singing.
Just pure fun. I don't think its aim is to do anything but make people happy.
40 years after ABBA was first created, the group is still a global phenomenon, with Hollywood success and a musical that has toured in more than 50 countries, as well as selling 2 million albums every year. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again features some of the disco quartet's lesser-known songs.
These songs were not singles, but they were just as seriously and as emotionally done as the others.
And there's also a new addition to the cast, with singer Cher playing Donna's mother and Sophie's grandmother.
Let's get the party started.
Grandma, you weren't invited.
That's the best kind of party, little girl. It's so fabulous. The lyrics are just totally grab me.
The feel-good film is just the beginning for ABBA fans, who are looking forward to the band's comeback tour next year, when the Eurovision-winning legends are expected to reunite on stage as holograms.
Next to a new release that's been applauded for shedding light on a serious social issue, the so-called gay conversion therapies that are still prevalent in many parts of the US. The Miseducation of Cameron Post is the story of a 16-year-old sent away by her family to a summer camp where religion is used to suppress feelings and to rewire the identities of gay teenagers. Set in the 1990s, the film's loosely inspired by a true story. Robert Sutton-Mattox has more.
Now you're officially a disciple of God's promise. Welcome. A holiday camp, but not as you know it.
You are at an age where you are especially vulnerable to evil.
It's rural Pennsylvania, 1993, and 16-year-old Cameron is spending her first days at a gay conversion camp. And the experience does not get any easier.
The struggle is with the sin of same-sex attraction. You're facing the consequences of your actions, and it's ugly.
You know, a lot of people say to me, this is a very brave movie for you to choose. And I actually hate that, because it's not brave of me. It's not brave at all. What's brave are the people that went through conversion therapy and survived it. This isn't brave. It's me trying to tell a story. It's me trying to teach people what the realities are.
1990s America was beginning to embrace LGBT rights. Pride marches were growing. But at the same time, there was and still is another world. Born a century ago, conversion therapy is still legal in 41 states, and in 2018, UCLA estimated more than 20,000 young people from 13 to 17 will undergo therapy before they are 18.
What is so well told during this film is the story of medical re-education. It's something that started at the beginning of the 20th century. A psychological, psychiatric education that is particularly poisonous. It did a lot of harm.
I'm tired of feeling disgusted with myself.
Denial, self-harm, suicide. The film is based on stories of those who went through it for real. Stories that spoke to the director.
To me, Cameron was an ode to any woman I've loved. And I wanted someone who knew herself and had strength and athleticism and swagger, confidence. And I was so excited when I heard that Chloe Moritz was interested and had read the script and liked it.
Composure and defiance from an actress more known for her comedies and a female director shining a light on gay conversion therapy.
At a time when European citizens across the continent are calling for more of a say in the EU, one theatre group has decided to make that a possibility. Les Têtes de l'Art has decided to put the European Union before judge and jury in a humorous and political dramatisation. Europe on Trial is a participative performance where the witnesses called to testify can be experts, local elected officials or even European ministers. Roxane Runel, Luc Brown and Pierre Delrieux caught up with those involved in the play.
Debating European issues wouldn't necessarily be your idea of a fun night on the town, but the right mix of politics, humor and theatre could just change your mind.
We wanted to speak about Europe to European citizens in a different way. As artists, we have certain tools and skills that allow us to take an original approach. I thought that a trial could allow us to talk about Europe in a contradictory way, a fun way, to put Europe up for debate.
Once again tonight, the court is in session, with lawyers, witnesses and of course a jury, played by the audience itself.
Debout, on se lève quand le président du tribunal entre dans la salle. Oh là là là, ils sont chauds.
Tonight, as serendipity would have it, 2 European ministers are in the room and agree to play along.
They needed 2 witnesses. I was immediately up for it. I wanted the other witness to be of a different nationality than French, but still needed to speak perfect French for the audience. Sandro Gozzi was the ideal victim, so to speak.
Levez la main inverse à votre gauche et dites chaussettes de l'archiduchesse sont-elles ces chaussettes?
I didn't hesitate 1 second. I could feel it would be an interesting experiment, and it really was.
From unemployment to social inequalities and technocrats, the touchy subjects are tackled with honesty and straightforwardness.
30 ans à rattraper, gauche et droite confondues. Ça prend du temps avant de donner confiance dans l'Europe.
It's a way to shift the conversation, to ask the right questions, but in an unexpected, less conventional way. It makes for a more surprising and, I hope, more interesting debate.
With European elections just around the corner, the performance currently on tour helps develop European citizens' awareness of important issues.
It was very interesting talking about Europe. It's a hot topic. And the fact that it was set up like a trial was fascinating.
Humour helps to tackle these complicated issues. It's compelling.
It makes these issues more accessible and easy to understand.
And in the end, the jury reaches a unanimous verdict: not guilty.
We call it the language of Molière here in France, and the legendary playwright's work is now being performed in a new production in both French and in English. His play Tartuffe has been transposed to modern-day America, starring Paul Anderson of Peaky Blinders fame in the title role, and Audrey Fleurot, known for her work in French TV drama Spiral. The bilingual plays are first for London's West End theatregoers. Emerald Maxwell takes a look.
And try to keep you happy.
Risque, but also risky.
Vous sortez si tôt.
It stars actors from both sides of the channel and mixes Molière's rhyming verse with the language of Shakespeare. Christopher Hampton's adaptation of Tartuffe brings the Frenchest of plays to a new audience in London's West End.
It's really interesting gymnastics to switch from French to English because it's a totally different pace. We go from the French alexandrin to iambic pentameter, which is very different.
And the challenge wasn't just linguistic. Transposing the French classic to Trump-era Los Angeles was also a risk. Star of French TV drama Spiral, Audrey Fleurot is Elmire in the play.
The French team at the beginning of the rehearsal said, "You can't touch Molière." And then, in the end, it's also interesting to modernize, sometimes, as long as we manage not to distort the play, obviously.
Paul Anderson of Peaky Blinders stars as the play's eponymous character, Tartuffe.
I think the risk element was what I liked about it. You know, not doing something that people would expect me to do.
But with its French farce, mixed with political overtones of Trump and Brexit, the bilingual experiment has divided audiences and critics.
It's a play that truly divides, a show that stands out between those who are for a form of openness and a desire for autonomy, for insularity, something more closed. And clearly, there are political and ideological stakes.
Tartuffe runs in London until July 28th.
We're staying with cross-channel collaborations with an exhibition here in Paris celebrating the Impressionist artists who sought refuge in London at the end of the 19th century. Their works being shown alongside some of their British contemporaries at the Petit Palais here in the French capital. We'll leave you with a preview. Do remember to check out our website. You can also keep up with Encore on social media too. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
London calling to the faraway towns. Now war is declared and battle come down. London calling to the underworld. Come out of the cupboard, you boys and girls. London calling, now don't look to us. Phony Beatlemania is bitten the dust. London calling, see we ain't got no swing except for the rain. The crunch